Delighted to say we're now joined by Armagh, former Armagh minor footballer Stevie McDonnell at the launch of this year's Electric Ireland GA Minor Championships. This year, Electric Ireland will be celebrating the minor moments of the championship, airing a new online content series called Electric Ireland Minor Moments Relived. Electric Ireland has also announced a 5-year extension to its sponsorship of the Electric Ireland GA Minor Championships and Electric Ireland Higher Education GA Leagues and Championships, as well as a new title sponsorship of the Electric Ireland Celtic Challenge. Stevie, I suppose if we're to jump straight into senior football matters going ahead this year, Donegal against Armagh coming this weekend, it feels like it's the real launch of the championship, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a game that not only Armagh and Donegal supporters are looking forward to, but probably supporters of football throughout the country. Two teams quite capable of going and punching a hole in the plans of each other's, I suppose, campaign, and both teams that are quite capable of getting a result as well. So it adds for extra excitement, I suppose, looking forward to two teams on the up and capable of winning Ulster titles coming up against each other.
Yeah, when you look at the mood in Armagh heading into this trip to Ballybuffet against Donegal, how have has the mood risen and fallen and risen again now that we had the melee in the league game? 3 of the 4 players have been cleared to play. Obviously, Rian O'Neill, the superstar, Stephen Campbell and Aidan Nugent, 2 very important players. I think Nugent scored 1-6 in that league game against Donegal. Kieran Mackin, they didn't appeal it because of an eye injury, whereas Oran McFadden-Ferry and Neil McGee won't be available for Donegal because they didn't appeal. So how has the mood risen and fallen?
Listen, yeah, you've got that going on in the background over the last couple of weeks, but the players themselves and even the players that were possible suspensions for this particular game would have been training away with the mindset that, right, there is a possibility that we may or may not get these decisions overturned, but if we're not, we're still going to train to make sure that the team is as best prepared as possible going into the Ballybuffet match. Armagh had a good, strong league campaign. So at Donegal, I think there was only a point in the difference between both teams at the end of it all, and that only whets the appetite for probably a more entertaining and exciting match in Ballybuffet this weekend. And the fact of the matter is, the rivalry between Armagh and Donegal down through the years has always been that of mutual respect, but one that both teams, there's never much given away in terms of scores, and you expect a good hard-hitting game, but there's not going to be very much in terms of the scoring at the end of this match, to I suppose see the difference between who wins and loses.
Yeah, I mean, we've known about Rian O'Neill being a very promising player for years, himself and his brother Oisín also. But I suppose he really did kind of come into the public consciousness in a broader sense with that performance against Dublin in the league. Where do you think he's at now in terms of like his career path and development, and how much better can he get even still?
Yeah, see, the beauty about Rian is he's still quite young. I think he's maybe only 22 or 23 still. So, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but it seems to be a pressure that he seems to thrive on, because there is an expectation of, from an Armagh point of view, that we expect Rian to perform at an 8 or 9 out of 10 each and every match, and we believe that he's quite capable of doing that. He has produced the goods throughout the campaign, Division 1 campaign this year. Probably his best performance was that game in Croke Park, the kickstart the campaign. He's a player that, while he plays the majority of his football for Armagh on the inside line, he's adaptable, so he can play at centre half forward, he can play midfield, and he can even play at centre half back. So, if you've got a player with that type of artillery and an asset, and then you utilise it, and yes, we want to see him closer to goal where he can really change the outcome of a game, but he's that type of player. If you watch Thiago the other night for Liverpool, he can pull strings as well, and we feel that Rian O'Neill is an exceptional talent. He's a player of the capabilities of Conor Callaghan and David Clifford, and people pay in to see players like that there, and we are lucky that we have one in Rian O'Neill.
Yeah, he's so exciting to watch. I remember when we spoke a couple of years ago, possibly ahead of Donegal's heavy victory over Armagh, you were thinking, you were talking in terms of like maybe it is time for this Donegal or Armagh team to come. You've been waiting a long, long time. That was obviously a huge setback, 122-13. You haven't beaten Donegal in the championship since 2010. I think the whole country is a little bit more excited about Armagh after that Dublin performance. Are you quite excited going into this championship, thinking where can this team go?
I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to get too excited because in the last couple of years, we've probably got ahead of ourselves in that regard. Last year, we felt that there was a passage for this Armagh team to get to an Ulster final. It didn't materialise that way. Thinking back to the last game with Armagh and Donegal a couple of years ago, Donegal taught Armagh a lesson, but Donegal at that particular time were the reigning Ulster champions, and that possibly adds 3-4 points onto any team at the start of a game. And Armagh didn't have the experience and the know-how of playing top division football that they have gained this year. So that does add a wee bit more excitement to the Armagh cause going into this particular weekend's game. And the fact that they were competitive in every single match in Division 1, even though they lost a couple of games, there was only a matter of points within each of those games. They made life extremely difficult for all of their opponents. So, we're hoping that that's going to be the case this weekend, and Armagh are probably better prepared now than what they have been over the last 10 years.
And would you agree that, I mean, if probably going back a decade, this is the most open All Ireland championship, in that space of time?
Yeah, well, listen, there's no denying Kerry are the front runners at the minute to win the All Ireland. Even though Tyrone beat them the last day out, Tyrone will certainly have their eyes set on trying to recapture the Sam Maguire again. Dublin will have been hurting. So there's three teams. Mayo will feel that they have a chance. Donegal will feel they have a chance. Armagh will feel they have a chance. Derry are an up-and-coming team. Galway. So, there's many teams there that on their day are quite capable of performing at a high level and getting results. You still have your top 4 or 5 teams that are definitely going to be in the shake-up come semi-final stage. So I would hope and I like to think that Armagh can be in the mix at that stage, but they have a lot to do to get that far in a championship campaign. It's quite a while since they have competed at that level and at that stage of a championship campaign. So I do believe that given the fact that Dublin didn't win the All-Ireland last year and Tyrone did, and the form that Kerry are currently showing, that this is going to be quite an open All-Ireland series and one to look forward to.
Declan Bonner said leading into this game that the only player that's definitely out is Oisín Gallen. Then obviously that's along with the suspensions of McFadden Ferry and Neil McGee. What sort of game are you expecting from Donegal and how dangerous are they?
It's hard to know. With Donegal, sometimes they have been a wee bit more expansive under Declan Bonner than what they had been previously. But Donegal, for me, have one of the most dangerous inside forward lines. If Michael Murphy's played in there, Paddy McBurty, Lee Brennan, they're exceptional talent, so they are. And if they get a service of ball, then you would expect that there's going to be a level of damage caused by those players. How can Armagh contain that? Sometimes you have to look further out the field and try to stop the delivery going into dangerous players like that there. So we would expect that Donegal will try to utilise the scoring power that they have, and the same as Armagh as well. Armagh have exciting talent up front. We have got a lot tighter in defence as well. We're not we haven't seemed to be leaking as many goals as what we have done in the years gone by. So I would like to think that Kieran McKeever's influence has played an effective part there. But Kieran Donaghy's influence also at the other end of the field, I suppose, creates a good mixture of defensive football to attack and long direct ball into dangerous inside forwards, and you would expect that that's going to be the case this weekend again.
And I suppose Donegal, they've kind of been nearly men in recent years. Everyone's been talking up that this is a common team, and they keep losing out in narrow knockout matches towards the end of the season, whether it's Super 8s, quarterfinals. Even last year, if Michael Murphy was fully fit, maybe he scores that penalty, maybe he doesn't do the late tackle, gets sent off, and maybe Tyrone never win the All-Ireland. But it just feels like they're always that little yard off.
Yeah, listen, if you've got a player of Michael Murphy's capabilities in your team, you always have a chance. I was lucky that at the end of my career, I got the opportunity to play alongside Michael. He was coming through, and you could see how exciting of a talent he was back then. For me, he's been one of the most influential players in the game over the last 10, 12 years. Yes, he's had niggling injuries over the last couple of years that have probably hampered his displays, but who knows where it would have been last year if he didn't receive his red card, if he put the penalty away. It was just one of those days that Michael Murphy would like to forget. And that's probably a worrying sign from an Armagh point of view going into this weekend, because he'll want to use that as a motivating factor to rectify those demons as well. And you've got a player like Michael Murphy on top of his game, then there's going to be serious damage caused, and Armagh have to be aware of that.
So we're obviously talking about the Electric Ireland Minor Championships. Can I draw you back to a tweet you put out in March about your own son, Keelan? What's it like watching him out on the pitch? And, did you know early doors when he was playing football that this lad will be wearing Armagh colours underage anyway?
Yeah, listen, I'm a proud father. I've seen it in years gone by with Martin McHugh watching his sons represent his county teams, Joe Kiernan watching his sons represent his county teams, and you certainly go with huge honour and immense pride watching your kids laying out in your county jerseys. Watching them wear the number 13 jersey like I wore for a number of years was quite exciting in that particular game as well. But listen, I don't want to put any added pressure on the young fella. He's got into a minor championship campaign this year that I hope he enjoys, and he enjoys the experiences of playing with players that when they come out of minors, they probably won't play with each other ever again. And you also enjoy the preparation of getting used to mentally getting ready for big games as well. And that's something that I'll watch from the background, but take pride in as well. And yeah, absolutely, I'm delighted that he's part of the Armagh squad going into this weekend's game against Derry. The fact that it's against Derry as well. My first minor championship match was against Derry. He was part of the squad last year, but didn't really play a huge role in it. But my first minor championship game was against Derry as well, and unfortunately we happened to get beat that day. So hopefully the fortunes will have turned for Keelan going into this weekend.
Is there something about the number 13? You kind of mentioned it there again, and obviously you did wear it pretty much all of the time as far as I can remember. Was there any particular reason why you like that number?
No, well, my birthday is the 13th of July as well, and the fact that I did wear the number 13 jersey for well over a decade, and listen, it was probably part and parcel of getting an Armagh jersey thrown at you. Mine was always number 13. I think maybe in my last year I wore number 14, but that was it. But listen, it's a number a lot of people say unlucky for some, but I always felt it was a very lucky number for me, and I enjoyed wearing the number 13 jersey. And I think if anyone remembers me as a player, they'll always remember me wearing that particular number as well.
Absolutely. Do you think Armagh will win this game, by the way, against Donegal?
I think they're capable of winning it, but at the same time, Donegal are capable of winning it. So that only, I suppose, whets the appetite even further when you've got two teams going in that you feel it's very much 50-50 on whichever team gets the rub of the green and takes their opportunities and takes their chances. Then that'll be the team that'll come out the right side of the result. But I definitely believe that Armagh are capable of going to Ballybofey this weekend and getting a result, and hopefully the experiences of playing Division 1 football this year will stand to them.
So I'm looking at the Mayo and Galway game and the absentee list that James Horan has to deal with. I mean, Tommy Conroy is gone for the season. Brendan Harrison and Jordan Flynn are out. There's question marks about Rob Henley apparently. And if you think of their four line breakers and the question marks over their fitness, Paddy Durkin, Oisin Mullen, Diarmid O'Connor, Owen McLaughlin, with Killian O'Connor only just back. Surely Mayo can't be as strong as they were last season with this sort of injury list.
Well, with those type of players, I'd have to got a team to turn out at all. That's a lot of marquee players as well. And if they are losing those caliber of players, then you would expect that the odds are stacked against them. But Mayo, when the odds are stacked against them, can produce big performances as well. And I wouldn't rule out that they can overturn Galway once again. But, two very exciting games to look forward to this weekend. Galway against Mayo, Donegal against Armagh. Teams that you would hope and expect to see towards the latter stages of the championship, and it's something to really kickstart the football championship off. Even though it got up and running last weekend, I think these two big games will definitely get it back into full force.
Do you believe that there'll be any psychological hang-ups with Mayo after the way Kerry hammered them? Now, obviously, I know that Tyrone got hammered by Kerry last year and kicked on, but is it always as simple as saying that it's grand, it's just the league?
I don't really think so. Mayo are well used to travelling to Croke Park, and they've had their fair share of unlucky days in Croke Park as well, and they seem to overcome them quite fast and turn the tables around. And I seen Lee Keegan coming out quite recently in an interview saying that football isn't the most important thing in his life, and that he enjoys the fact that he can go out and play football in a more relaxed state of mind. And if you've got that less stress on your shoulders, then you seem to be able to perform at a higher level. And certainly Lee Keegan has been able to do that over the last couple of years. And if they can approach the game with that type of mindset, then they've every chance of getting a result as well.
And one final question, NC. Who's your sort of number one contender to win the All-Ireland this year?
I think I'd be naive not to say Kerry. I think Kerry have been the benchmark throughout the league campaign this year. They've been very, very impressive in how they've gone about their games. Yes, Tyrone beat them the last day out, but they still kicked on and won the National League. They've got two of the most exciting forwards in the country in terms of Sean O'Shea and David Clifford, and those two players are very much in sync with each other and have a great understanding, and that happens, I suppose, when you come up through the minor grades, playing football with each other as well, and have tasted a lot of success at minor level. So maybe winning a national title for that Kerry group of players will bring them on no end again, and it's a daunting challenge for the rest of the country, but definitely you have to fancy Kerry's chances going into the campaign this year.
Absolutely. Well, look, brilliant chatting to you, Stevie, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
No problem. Thanks very much.